Happy Monday, students of English, American Literature, Contemporary Composition, periods 2 and periods 5. We are approaching the end of our project and the end of the semester. This week, you're going to be turning in your findings. This one right here, your findings. So, we have a lesson on how to write the findings section of a research paper. And we have been practicing this for a while, and I didn't tell you that we were practicing it. Here is a puzzle. Let's see how long it takes us to figure this out. You know, when you're doing a puzzle, let's see if that one works. Nope, it doesn't work. What about right there? Look at that. When you're doing a puzzle, what you're really doing is you're kind of solving a mystery. You're putting together pieces of something that are going to end up looking like something very, very specific. Put this over here. I think this one goes over here. Look at that. Oh my goodness. You do that, and you bring this one. Looks like it's going to go right there. We know this one goes over there. Put that one there. So imagine if each one of these puzzle pieces is one of your sources, one of your research cards, and you have them all out on your table, right? You've got them all over the place like that. So what happens? You need to shape it, just like this puzzle, into your paper. See, we know what this is going to look like because it has a picture, but no one knows except you what your research paper is going to look like until you move all the pieces around, all of the research cards that you have all over the place, and you decide this is going to be the first one I talk to, this is going to be the second one I talk about, then the third, because all three of these, they seem to be in the same kind of concept. So we're going to put them together, right? And then these other puzzle pieces over here are in contradiction to these. So we're going to put them right afterwards. These talk about something else, so we're going to put those over here. And then these have really different opinions. Maybe this one's your interview. Maybe this one is a TED Talk that you saw. Maybe this one's a podcast that you listen to. And they kind of don't fit with the rest of them. So you put them at the end. Ultimately, you decide where all of these pieces go. Ultimately, you decide where all of these pieces go. But remember, you gotta start putting them in place, figuring out where it is that you're gonna structure them. I can go there. How about there? There you go. All right. That's what doing the puzzle is kind of a metaphor for. Putting together the pieces. That didn't go there. Putting together the pieces of your research. Still didn't go there, right? You'd think I'd be a little bit better at this, but the reality is it's a process. Your research cards, again, are pieces of a puzzle. You've got them all laid out on your table. When you go to college and you get your sources together, you put cards together just like we did for our class. You put them all together in one spot. Lay them all out on the table just like all these puzzle pieces are laid out on the table. And then start figuring out which way you want to put them. You did most of the writing already for this findings section. Why? Because you've already written the précis. If you'll notice, I'm going to go over here. This is where you'll submit it. and this is the checklist for it. You already wrote précis for your sources. So now you're going to push together the sources into your section. So make sure that you start out with a proper heading that says findings, a brief opening paragraph about the diversity of your findings as a whole that reminds your reader about the research question that you asked and the quest to find answers to it. A paragraph for each one of your sources. So you should have 10 paragraphs because you should have 10 sources. And you've already written those paragraphs. You've got the précis for each one. Well, now we're going to add a quote. And you already had, if you did your research cards, you had a few quotes for every single source. And you'll put those together. If you have survey results that you completed, put the surveys in there. Make sure that you label each one of the graphs or tables or charts, figure 1, table 1, whatever it is. Make sure that you have that. Make sure that they're titled so that we know what your question was that you were asking. Make sure that whenever you have an article title, it's in these quotation marks. See the quotation marks? Quotation mark open, no space, write the quotation. Quotation mark close, no space. And if it's a book or a film, make sure that it is in italics. Make sure you have effective transitions between your paragraphs, whether it's a word or whether it's a phrase, which is a group of words. Another source that discusses this is so-and-so. Unlike the previous source, this source does, there's ways that you can go from one source to the next source. Remember the chart that you made in your book of writing first semester about transitions? Look that one up. And then again, make sure that you can check all of these off, right? What you do with a checklist is you go through it and you check it off as you're checking your paper. That's what you should be doing. All right, you all. Let's look at who participated. Oh, and then you submit right here. No one submitted yet. This is turn it in. It's going to check to make sure that you quoted correctly and you're not plagiarizing. So let's look at who participated last week. We only had 3 from this class. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Benjamin. Thank you, Christian. Let's look at period 5. Period 5. 3 people also. Thank you, David. Thank you, Eduardo. Thank you, Gabriela. All right. Stay safe out there. Be careful. Till next time.